God of War. So God of War is out for the PlayStation 4. It's a sequel to God of War, also a total overhaul and revision of God of War itself. They're dealing with Norse mythology now, not Greek mythology as they were before. If you remember Kratos' quest for revenge, he pretty much wrapped that up. Now he's hanging out doing the quiet life. His wife has died, so he and his son want to spread her ashes on the tallest peak. That's pretty much the gist of it. The big tale for revenge. Very personal story with Kratos and his son. Granted, some gods do start getting in the way. There are a lot of monsters between point A and point B. Actually, point A and point Z, a lot of points in between. Takes you through a few of the 9 realms, but not all of the 9 realms. So you can see all the 9 realms. You can't travel to all 9 realms. And it really is an overhaul. If you just look at the mechanics, you have an axe that pretty much acts like Mjolnir. You throw it, you can call it back to you. But out the gate, the battle mechanics, the camera placement, it's kind of over the shoulder behind you. It's completely different than the other God of War games. And that was necessary. I mean, the other God of War games, it's a big tale for revenge. The gods have wronged Kratos. Now Kratos is gonna kill him. That's all fun and dandy, but if they were going that route again, there'd be no need for a new game. Because that in and of itself is pretty one-dimensional. Fun, yes. One-dimensional, yeah. This game has made Kratos so much more complex. It's fleshed him out in ways that I didn't think were possible or even necessary. I was fine with Kratos being the ghost of Sparta, the kick-ass machine I always knew him as. I didn't know I wanted him to be something else. Now that they have added complexity to him, to this degree in this level, I can't ever see me in my perception of Kratos going back. How did I ever feel like Kratos of old was enough? There's a whole armor system in here. Very action RPG element, I like that. But there were a couple times I would just go up against 2 enemies. You get hit twice, you die. Depending on the enemy. There's some other enemies you can take a few hits. You go up against one of the hard ones though, a couple good hits and you're out. So you really have to be more calculating. You can't just spam, 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 spam. It's not like that. Most of the time you try to charge headfirst into something, you're gonna get your ass kicked. His son Atreus is a big part of it too. He has a couple different arrows he can equip. You level him up as well. So pushing square to stun lock enemies down, then going at them as Kratos, that's very important. And the more the game progresses, the more dialogue there is, the more attached you get to Atreus, the more important he is to you. There's even a head that's hanging off Kratos' belt. I liked him. Between head, well, Kratos just calls him head, because he is in fact a head. Atreus, Kratos, the dialogue between all of them, it keeps everything going, even in those moments where you're just, alright, I'm rowing, there's a story happening, there's dialogue happening. Not only fleshes out the realm and the lore, but it also fleshes out the characters. And I do like the lore, I like the mythology. I mean, that's one of the things I liked about the old God of War game. You learn some fun Greek mythology from God of War. Now you learn some fun Norse mythology from God of War. It does change your perception on Norse mythology. I mean, because a lot of Norse mythology, I'll be honest with you, it came from the MCU for me. Why the fuck would I need to know anything about Thor ever in my life, except for the Thor I see on screen? But this totally paints that world, Thor, Odin, in a very different light. And you remember, oh yeah, it's mythology, and in mythology, gods are dicks. They're just generally, they're assholes. There's a lot to explore in this game, though like I said, in Norse mythology, there are 9 realms. You don't travel to all 9 realms. It teases you and shows you that there are 9 realms, but it's like, it's been locked off. Odin has locked that off, which makes me think it's probably DLC, but I guess there's no plans to have a season pass for DLC. So is it for DLC or is it just setting up for a sequel? I mean, it's logical, even if you don't go to all of the realms in this story, that the realms would still exist. So I get that they would still show it to you, but showing you something that you can't experience just makes you feel like you're missing out on something. It's like going to Baskin Robbins 31 flavors is like, yeah, here are 5 of the flavors, and you're not 31 flavors at that point. You are 5. I like the armor system in this game. Little word of advice, bump up your luck. And again, I don't have an alternative. I'm just saying bumping up my luck seemingly helped me out. I got a lot of life, more gold than I needed, more than enough XP to max out everything. Maybe bumping my luck stat had nothing to do with that. Maybe it did. There is a lot to explore, a lot of treasures. I will say Kratos is now officially a better treasure hunter than Nathan Drake. I found more treasures with Kratos than I ever did as Nathan Drake. There's a bit more backtracking than I tend to like in games like this. It's like, oh, the waters went down, now we can go there. And you scramble around, get some stuff, but you can't get everything because you don't have everything yet. So you have to come back when you get another ability. I almost feel like it would have saved me more time just to be like, all right, I'm not exploring anywhere until I get everything in terms of abilities. Rather than going back to areas after getting every new ability, just wait till you get all the abilities and you can just go there once. I will say this game kind of ends on a bit of an anticlimactic note. I mean, what I mean by that is usually in a game like this, when I'm coming up on the boss, you can totally feel that it's the boss. But I fight this dude and I'm like, all right, this is clearly not the boss. Turns out it was, and then the game was over. Had no idea. If you look at that fight and that wrap up as just the wrap up for this game, it might sell you a little short. But if you look at it as set up as to what may be coming, that's where it may have a lot more gravity to it. God of War is a very heavy journey, a very emotional journey. It's actually heavier than I ever thought I wanted God of War to be. I didn't know I wanted this game, and then now I play it and I'm like, how did I live without it? There's actually a moment in this game where someone gets sick. In terms of emotional cinematic game moment, It's up there. It's one of the top for me. Guys, in the end, God of War is an emotional epic. It's not an epic of vengeance. It's not an epic of slaughter. There are some great kills that happen with some monsters in this game, but it's icing on the cake. It's not the point. Kratos and this God of War game treats Kratos' past very realistically, I think. He got his revenge before. His life's not better. In fact, he's not really proud of that whole thing. I thought that's very profound. It's very powerful. This game justifies its own existence in terms of characters, plot, and gameplay. It keeps the kick-assery you liked about God of War, though it is refined to be a little more purposeful and focused in terms of battle mechanics, but its greatest strength is in what the old God of War games didn't have. That is emotional weight. They've hit the Goldilocks zone of God of War. I can't wait to see a sequel, because I really feel like this game does set up for that. I will say God of War is awesome-tacular. I didn't even play it on a Pro. I played it on my regular PS4. My, launch day PS4. Looked fantastic. The graphics in this game are insanity. All right, so God of War, have you played it? What did you think about it? Whatever you thought, comment below. Let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.